Janavallabha Jayo Girivaradari Jayo Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna. So today we'll be reciting from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, verse number 5.4. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay. Sarvavatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tara Dvitiya Deha Shri Balaram Sarvavatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tara Dvitiya Deha Shri Balaram Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tara Dvitiya Deha Shri Balaram. One Prabhuji, one Mataji. Sarvavatari, the source of all incarnations. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Swayam, personally. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tahara, His. Dvitiya, second. Deha, expansion of the body. Shri Balaram, Lord Balaram. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Lord Balaram is his second body. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the primeval Lord, the original form of Godhead, and his first expansion is Sri Balaram. The personality of Godhead can expand himself in innumerable forms. The forms that have unlimited potency are called Swa-amsha, and forms that have limited potencies are called Vibhin-amsha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratushe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate giram yat kripa tamaham mande Shri Gurun Dinatharinam. Hare Krishna. So, I'd like to welcome all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Before I begin, I do not have any qualification to speak anything on the glories of Balaram, such an exalted personality, none other than the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. But I take this opportunity, the inspiration for glorification is just simply purification. So I request all the devotees to kindly pray for me so that I can speak few words in the glorification of Shri Balaram for the pleasure of Shri Shri Nitai Gaurachandra and for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and for the pleasure of all the devotees present here. So, in one of the temples in America, there was a particular devotee, who, before coming to Krishna, when he joined the temple, and he used to participate every day in the Harinam Sankirtan, very, very enthusiastically. But before coming to Krishna conscious, he was a die-hard goer of the nightclub. And every time, before coming to Krishna conscious, he was, he had many impressions of the past. And therefore, when he was going for Harinam Sankirtan one fine day on the streets, he happened to go on the same street where the same nightclub where he used to go every single day. he came across that particular nightclub. And while he was performing Harinam Sankirtan, he saw the nightclub, and while performing, he was again and again looking behind. Again and again looking behind at that nightclub where he used to go every single day in his pre-Krishna conscious days. So while trying to sing the holy name and getting distracted by the nightclub, he banged his head unknowingly, on a lamppost. His teeth nearly fell off. His tooth nearly fell off. And this particular devotee shares a very beautiful realization next day in his Srimad Bhagavatam class. His Bhagavatam class was scheduled the next day. So he said that when you march forward in the path of Krishna consciousness, you should not look behind. You should not look behind. Because when you look behind at the temptations that are there, then you get banged by material energy. Therefore, in our spiritual lives, we face so many temptations, so many allurements. And the question is how to resist all those temptations. How to resist all these allurements. The only way is by the virtue of spiritual strength. Because many a times, why do we fall to certain temptations and allurements? Because of lack of spiritual strength. Therefore, we need spiritual strength in our spiritual life in order to go ahead very, very nicely. And that is why Srila Prabhupada very often quotes, Nayam Atma Balahina na Labhya na Mhedaya na Bahuna Shrutena. He said, Srila Prabhupada would very often say, Nayam Atma Balahina. It is very, very difficult to become self-realized without spiritual strength. Of course, when I'm saying Balahina, it does not refer to physical strength. No, in order to get physical strength, one can go to the gym and get physical strength. Even going to the gym, you need a trainer, you need a coach. Is it not? So what to talk about spiritual life? It is Balaramji in the form of Guru Tattva who acts like a coach, acts like a trainer, so that we can become systematically trained in spiritual life. So therefore, on this very, very auspicious, upcoming festival of Balaram Jayanti, we can pray to Balaram for spiritual strength. Many a times, knowledge, spiritual knowledge is compared to a sword. Correct? It's compared to a sword. Anudhyasina yuktaha. It's an asin. It's a sword. So the sword of knowledge, Krishna, through the Bhagavad Gita, he gives us the sword of knowledge. But to be able to, in order to be able to pick up that sword, in order to able to maneuver that sword to your advantage, it requires strength. Is it not? Like, for example, I remember there was one very old movie, Mughal-e-Azam. And the actor of that, of course, it's not the best example to be given, especially when you're preparing your consciousness for Balaram Jayanti, but I could not find any good example than this. So, there was this very, film called Mughal-e-Azam, and the actor there, Prithviraj Chauhan, was debuted to play the role of Akbar. And he was told that, see, we have the original armor of Akbar. Why don't you take that and act in the film? And he was brought near the armor. The very second he tried to pick up the armor, he fell off. It was so heavy the armor was. So if the armor was so heavy, then what to talk about wearing it and what to talk about acting with it? So it requires, the armor was present. The sword of knowledge is present. But one should have the ability to even pick it up. It should have the ability to act with it. So in a very similar manner, Krishna gives us the sword of knowledge. But the strength to be able to pick up that sword of knowledge is with Balaramji. It is Balaramji in the form of Guru Tattva who gives us the strength through his Vani, through his Vapu, through his wonderful association. So therefore Srila Prabhupada solved the purpose of both Krishna and Balaram. Srila Prabhupada gave us not only knowledge through the Bhaktivedanta purports, but Srila Prabhupada gave us the spiritual strength through those Bhaktivedanta purports, he gave beautiful engagements, he gave us the chanting of the holy names. Srila Prabhupada would say, what is the use of being an American if you cannot do anything big? So Prabhupada would empower his disciples to do really big thing. But for that empowerment, Srila Prabhupada imparted spiritual strength. That is what is very much required. So Srila Prabhupada very beautifully played both roles. So Balaram helps us to pick up the sword of knowledge in the form of understanding the scriptures, and Guru Tattva, in the form of Guru Tattva, he helps us apply that knowledge according to Kala Desha Patra, according to time, place and circumstances. So Balaram, if you do Sandhi Viched, Balaram, Bala means strength, spiritual strength, and Ram means Ananda, Ramante, pleasure. So Balaram, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, two processes are very important, Anartha Nivritti and Artha Pravritti. So in order to deal with the anarthas, you require strength, you require bala, you require spiritual strength. And in order, and Artha Pravritti is what? The positive aspect of Krishna consciousness, hearing pure Krishna Katha. So the hearing of pure Krishna Katha and engaging positively in the activities of Krishna consciousness, one gets ananda, one gets pleasure. That is what, Giriraj Maharaj, remember, I'm just remembering this in his Juhu story. He goes to Srila Prabhupada and says, Prabhupada, there are so many managerial issues to be dealt with. There are so many personal problems I myself are dealing with in my spiritual life. What do I do? Prabhupada said, simply do Sankirtan. Just do Sankirtan. Just by performing Sankirtan, just like our devotees are in BCEC, every day go for Sankirtan, so ecstatically. So just by simply performing Sankirtan, all problems are automatically dissolved. And Giriraj, I was reading for this preparation for this particular class, I was reading a beautiful transcript of Giriraj Maharaj on the day of Balaram Jayanti. So he says that just simply by going for Sankirtan, automatically all managerial problems, all personal problems I could transcend them very easily. So this is what, and I was blissful in my Krishna consciousness despite the ups and downs and so many controversies that I faced in my spiritual life in the course of my journey of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, that is the power of, Ananda that Balaram imparts when we take shelter of him in the form of Guru's Vani, like the way Srila Prabhupada had told Giriraj Maharaj. So Balaram is also, in that lecture only, Giriraj Maharaj says, Balaram is like he's like a network connection. Very interesting example. He says like a network, he's like you may have an, iPhone, we phone, she phone, he phone, they phone, whatever phone you may have. But you need a good network connection. What is the use of a phone if you do not have a good network connection? Like in Surabhi Kunj voice, when we go, there's only one danda, only one stick. You cannot call anyone. And if you try to call, you cannot get connected. You need good connection. Whatever phone you may have. So therefore, Balaram acts like that network connection through which you can reach Krishna. Roma Harsha Sutta, it was a smartphone. Very good phone. But what he wanted to do, he wanted to throw the SIM card away. In other words, he wanted to cut his connection from Balaram. And Balaram is the network provider. He is the one who can give network connection. So therefore, and what happened as a result to Roma Harshan Sutta? He was killed. So we should understand, Krishna, Balaram provides us Bala. He provides Ananda. He provides the ability to pick up that sword of knowledge, and he's like a network provider. The network connection through which we can connect to Krishna. I hope everyone is alert and awake. Oh, I have to make it more animated. Okay. You want it in Hindi? Hindi? Okay. Time is too less actually. I only have 20 minutes. I could have said that, but too much content to go through. So, talking about next time, I'll fulfill that request. So, talking about Balaram's identity. So I was going through the 5th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. I was just reading through all the 235 shlokas, nectarian chapter. So Balaram, as this verse says, Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tahara Dutiya Deha Shri Balaram. That same Krishna, he comes in the form of, he comes and expands as Balaram. Now, Eka Iswarupa Doe Binna Matra Kai Adya Kaya Vyuha Krishna Lila Rasahai. So that same Krishna, Eka Iswarup, but Binna Matra Kai. He expands as two. He expands as, that same Krishna expands as Balaram. And then Adya Kaya Vyuha, the body expands. But for what purpose does he expand? Krishna Lila Rasahai. He expands in order to assist Krishna in his beautiful pastimes. This is very, very important to be understood. So that is why Krishna has many manifestations, and we can see through the verse in Brahma Samhita, Ramadi Murtishu Kalaniyamena Tishtan Nana Vataram Akaroda Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramah Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Nana Avataram, Rama Avatar, Krishna, Parshuram, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, and Balaram also. So he expands himself in so many manifestations. In the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there comes this beautiful Leela of Kalya Daman, where Krishna is all ready to attack Kalya. He ties his ponytail, or whatever you call it, his hair behind, beats his thighs and beats his arms, and is ready to jump. There, at that point of time, Shukadev Goswami tells, not Krishna. He doesn't use the word Krishna. Krishna is going to jump. He does not use Madhava. He could have said Keshava, Madhava, Krishna. No. But he says Avatar. He uses specifically the word Avatar. That Avatar is now going to jump and attack Kalya. So the Acharyas give a very interesting analysis to this. Oh yes, Krishna, even though Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj is telling he's avatari, but what is the purpose of an avatar? The purpose of an avatar is paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstha panarthaya. So Krishna, what is he telling? When he jumps, paritranaya sadhunam, he comes to protect Yamuna. He comes to protect Yamuna. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. He comes to kill. He comes to defeat Kalya and dharma samstha. He once again comes to restore the peace in the land of Vrindavan. So that is what, Krishna does. So, but we understand that Krishna is avatari. He is the root of all incarnations. Ete chamsha kalha pumsa. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Amsha means plenary portion. And kalaha means portion of the plenary portion. So that is what is Krishna. So that is what Balaram is an expansion of Krishna. Now that same Krishna, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in this particular chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj very beautifully explains that an expansion is called Prakash. An expansion is called Prakash. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj explains there is something called as Prabhava Prakash and Vaibhava Prakash. So Prabhava Prakash means the mood, the complexion and the form is same. The mood and the complexion and the form is same. For example, Krishna manifesting himself and expanding himself for every gopi in the Ras Leela. So that is Prabhav Prakash. And on the other hand, you have Vaibhav Prakash. What is Vaibhav Prakash? That same avatari, Krishna, expands, but the mood is different and the complexion and the form is different. So if you see, Krishna is bluish black, but Balaram is compared to a white spring cloud, freshly formed spring cloud. Krishna is crooked, very crooked. His glances are crooked. He feels something, thinks something, says something. Vaktra ukti. That's what he does. Krishna, one day he was very, very angry at Mother Yashoda. He says, don't come. I'm very angry with you. Don't means come. You should definitely come to me. So Krishna thinks something, feels something, says something. Even Krishna, the way he runs also in a very crooked way. We see that in Damodar Leela. He runs in an S formation because he knew if I would run like this, then Mother Yashoda cannot catch me. So this is what Krishna is crooked in every way. Balaram is straightforward. Roma Harshan Sutta, kill. Forget it. One, destroyed. Rukmi, banged his tooth and he's dead. So Balaram, he does not keep anything in his heart. What is inside is outside. That is Balaram. Very straightforward incarnation. So you see, that is Balaram. And Balaram's beauty, what do I say? It is so beautiful. Balaram is very beautiful. It is said in by one of the Acharyas. I'm referring to, there was a beautiful edition of Krishna Kathamrit Bindu. So there, a lot of nectarian things were given. So I'll make an attempt to share from there. It was very beautiful. Yesterday only the magazine was released. So very beautiful things. So there it was said, if his complexion, when he would walk, so youthful Balaram is, so young and youthful. He would say when he would go out in the streets of Vrindavan, the heart of the gopis would skip a beat. That beautiful Balaram is. If you have to compare Balaram's whiteness to that of a conch shell, it is an insult. If you have to compare Balaram's beauty to a million non-eclipsed moon, then that is also an insult. Balaram's complexion is pure white. He wears beautiful garments, blue garments. He has armlets. He has bracelets. He has a thin waist, wide hips. He has strong thighs, strong legs. And that is the beauty of Balaram. And Balaram, what is his speciality? He holds Hal, Haladhar. You have Haldhar Priya Prabhu with us. So he holds a plow so graciously, standing and mesmerizing everyone. Now when you have a bottle, correct? When you have a bottle and when you have a crooked object, it is very difficult to get a crooked object into the bottle. Very, very difficult. But once the crooked object gets into the bottle, for the crooked object to come out is very, very difficult or virtually impossible. In a very similar manner, Krishna, to get into the heart is very difficult. But through the medium of pure, unalloyed, uninterrupted, unmotivated devotional service, if he gets into the heart, it's not easy for him to leave. He does not leave very, very easily. He's totally controlled by his devotee. In astrology, we say, ye to graha grast hai. But Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, sadhu bhi grasta hridayam. What is that verse? Aham bhakta paradino. That particular verse in the Ambrish Maharaj section. So sadhu bhi grasta hridayam. He is totally influenced and controlled by his devotees. So that is, that is Krishna. Balaram's position, another name for Balaram is Ananta Shesh. Shesha means remainder. Balaram is so enthusiastic to do services. Very, very, very enthusiastic to do services. Whatever service is there, he completes the service that is given to him and he even completes the remainder of the service that has been left. That is Balaram. He is so enthusiastic. Sometimes when we are given service, our guru comes, or our superior comes and gives us service, kindly please do service. Sometimes we may become like an arrow bhakta. Now what is speciality of an arrow? You pull the string, gone. Prabhuji, kindly please give me, कृपया करके आप मुझे कुछ सेवा दे सकते हो? तो you go, the service is given, and the devotee gone, not to seen again. No service, where, and he's gone. You have the arrow kind of bhakta. Then you have the honeybee kind of bhakta. The honey kind of bee of bhakta, you have seen the honeybee. It goes to one flower, A second flower, third flower, It goes to one flower and sucks the nectar, the honey out of it. There are sometimes there are devotees, goes to a superior and tells them, Prabhuji, kindly please give me some seva. Okay, please go and get some fruits from the market for offering to Nitai Gaur Chandra. And he goes and meets one devotee. Prabhuji, how are you? It's been a very, very long time. I have not seen you. He talks. Then after that, he meets another devotee. Mataji, where have you been? It's been a long time. You have not come to the temple. Prabhuji, what is going on? Everything going on nicely in your spiritual life? Then he says, oh, how are you? Gauri. It's been such a long time you have not come to the temple. Many a times I see little Gauri and I comment, oh, aap kahan pura mandir mein aate nahi ho? So every time, there also, so he meets every devotee and the superior asks him, I've given you a service, what about that? Oh, what do I tell you, Prabhuji, these devotees, they just talk too much. So the honeybee kind of bhakta. Then you have another kind of bhakta, the ant bhakta. Now what is it? Have you seen ants crawling on the wall? They bump into each other. They bump into each other, they seem to be talking to each other, and then they cross the ways and go away. You must have observed that. So that kind of bhakta, the devotee goes and tells Prabhuji, kindly please give me some seva. Yes, I want some fruits on the market, I want some vegetables, some ghee, some milk needs to be. He gives a list of items. And what does that devotee do? That devotee bumps into another devotee. This is a list of items, go and get it from the market. And that devotee in turn, he bumps into another ant, another devotee, and tells him that the service has come, go, this is the list, go and get from the market. Like this, delegation. This is what is called ant bhakta. Then you have the Jyotish kind of bhakta. Jyotishpa. Prabhuji, can you please give me some seva? Oh yes, kindly go and get fruits from the market. And he says, Prabhuji, what if suppose the shop is not opened? Prabhuji, what if suppose they don't accept cash? No, shop is open. But Prabhuji, what if suppose they don't accept cash and neither I have a bank account, neither it is connected to phone pay? What to do? No, don't worry, I will give you cash. What if suppose there is no petrol in the bike? What if suppose the bike itself is not working? Haldar Pripuru is so busy, will he be available to take Lakshmi from the accounts? So that is called the Jyotish kind of bhakta. This kind of seva varti, one cannot progress in devotional life. So therefore, but Balaram is so enthusiastic for service. The sthai bhav, so in this edition of Krishna Kathamrita, it was written that the sthai bhav of Balaram is, he's Sankula Rati. That is the sthai bhav, or the innate constitutional position of Balaram. Sankula means all-encompassing. Always enthusiastic and ready to serve. And therefore, that Balaram serves in all capacities. In Shantaras, in Dasyaras, in Vatsalyaras, in Sakhya, in Vatsalya, and Madhurya. So therefore, like for example, even Damodar Leela. Damodar Leela is called Sankulit Rasapurna Leela, where all the 5 rasas come together just in order to bind Krishna. Like for example, Shantaras. The milk feels very, very angry. What is this? Krishna is getting, I'm not getting any attention. I am born from an aristocratic Padma Gandha birth, and no attention is being paid to me. I will overflow and commit suicide. So you see, Shantaras, how is it coming, wanting to bind Krishna? And then you have the next, Dasyaras. You have, after the entire Damodar Leela happens, you have Kuvera. Kuver Atma Jau Batta Murtaiva Yadvat Tatha Prema Bhaktim Swakamme Prayacha. So this, what is this verse saying? Kuver Atma Jau Baddha. You had Nal Kuver and Manigriv. After, Damodar was freed, by, from the bandhan. Then, in the mood of dasya, Nalkuver and Manigrief, they pray to Krishna, telling Krishna, let our words be engaged in glorifying you. Let our hands and legs be engaged in serving you. Let my head pay our prostrated obeisances to you. Then you have in Sakyaras, the monkeys. What is the use of Sakyaras? If there is no exchange of anything. They came stealing butter and Krishna would feed all the monkeys. Then you have Vatsalyaras, of course, none other than Mother Yashoda. Then you have Madhurya Ras. Very interesting, in this particular book written by Jiva Goswami, of course, once again given in this edition of Krishna Kathamrit Bindu, there it was said that actually the basis of this pastime lies in the spiritual world. How? So one day, Krishna comes very late. There was a joyous, pompous celebration in Mother Yashoda's house. And Krishna comes very, very late, to Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani becomes very, very angry. And she ties Krishna with a rope. And Krishna becomes very, very pleased by this particular action. Krishna says to Radharani, Srimati Radharani, from this day onwards, my name will be Damodar. And this name will be very dear to me. And this particular pastime of binding me with a rope will be enacted when we both go together on this earth planet. So this is the reference, Radha Charana Deepika by Jiva Goswami. So he gives a reference. So the basis of this pastime of Damodar Leela, actually, the prototype is in the spiritual world. Just like Damodar Leela, we have Balaramji, Sankula Trati, how he comes in all capacities in wanting to serve. So the first one is Shantarasa. So I'm skipping many things because the time is very less. I just have 10 minutes. So whatever I can cover, I'll cover. So Shantarasa. There's a very beautiful verse again in Chaitanya Charitamrita which says, Chatra Paduka Shaya Upadana Vasana Arama Avasa Yagya Sutra Simhasana. So Balaram, he comes and expands himself in the form of so many paraphernalia. First one is Chhatra. Krishna wants to go in Dwarka. He has an umbrella above him. Who is that umbrella? Balaram manifests himself as an umbrella just to give Krishna pleasure. Chhatra Paduka. Now Paduka is something, one may say, let me become the garment, let me become the garland, let me become the jewelry. But who wants to become a Paduka? Balaram, so humble. He agrees to become a Paduka. Becomes, a decoration on Krishna's feet. Paduka. Then he becomes, he's ready to become a Shaya, a bed. No, it is not just some ordinary, brand like Duroflex or Curl-On mattress or Sleepwell mattress. The brand that Krishna uses is Balaram brand. Everything. The bed, even, his shoes. The Padukas, it's not some Adidas or Puma or Skechers. It is Balaram brand. That's the brand he uses. It's the topmost brand that nowhere available in this world. That is what is Krishna. And what about Dham? Krishna needs a stage. Is it not to perform his Leela? So, the playground place of Krishna is actually a manifestation of the Samvit Shakti. That is none other than Balaram. That is a manifestation of Sandhini Shakti. So you have Ladhini Shakti, you have Samvit Shakti. So for Ladhini Shakti, that is who's represented by Srimati Radharani, and the Samvit Shakti, that is represented by Krishna, they come together for that, in order to be able to come together, in order to relish rasa, ananda, chinmaya rasa. Ananda means Ladhini Shakti, chinmaya means Samvit Shakti. They need us perform for any Leela. You need for any Leela or any dance or any performance of art, you need a stage. Is it not? That Balaram, he comes in the form of Dhamma in order to facilitate the beautiful, beautiful pastimes of Krishna. Even today's the disappearance of Rupa Goswami, right? So Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu shares that Vrajadam is in the form of a lotus. And that lotus expands and contracts. So when Krishna wants to kill a demon, or a demon wants to kill Krishna, what happens is that Dham expands. It expands. And Krishna seems to be very close. Krishna is running and the demon is running behind, but the demon is not being able to catch to Krishna. That is what? The Dham expands. But during the Govardhan Leela, Krishna was somewhere else. Govardhan is somewhere else. The Dham contracts. And within no time, Krishna could reach Govardhan and perform and enact this beautiful pastime of Govardhan Leela. Sanatan Goswami, 92 years old, he would go to Vrindavan to beg Madhukari. He would go to Mathura to beg Madhukari, come to Govardhan to do Giriraj Parikrama, and then he would return back to Vrindavan. 108 kilometers he would go every single day. 92 years old. How is it possible? It was only because Balaram, in the form of the Dham, contracted. So, next time, when we do Giriraj Parikrama, and it's taking a lot of time, we should understand. Balaram is so happy with us. He's so happy that he's expanding himself. But that should not be the case of Japa. Oh, Prabhuji, one round is taking 30 minutes. Oh, Krishna must be so pleased with me. That is not applicable here. So, just wanted to clarify on this point. So that is, which rasa we talked about just now? Shantaras. Then is Dasyaras. So, Giriraj Maharaj, in that particular transcript, he gives very beautiful understanding. He says, Sevak means 5 things. How many things? 5 things. I hope everyone is alert. Yeah? So, the first aspect of being a Sevak is, Krishna is great and I am small. And this example can be perfectly illustrated in the Brahma Vimohan Leela. The Brahma Vimohan Leela. All the cows and all the calves and the cowherd boys are stolen by Lord Brahma, and Krishna is thinking, what should I do now? And therefore Krishna now manifests himself. But if I tell Balaram, it's going to become a mess. Because last time I ate dirt, what did Balaram do? He went to Mother Yashoda and complained about me. So I will do my activities very silently this time. I will not tell Balaram no. And one day, Balaram happened to observe something very extraordinary. He was thinking, what is happening in this land of Vrindavan? The cows are leaving their newborns and going and licking their plump calves. What is happening? The Vatsalamai Vrajagopis, every time it would be observed that the gopis would love their children, they would love Krishna even more than their children. And, but here he's seeing the opposite. It seemed that the motherly gopis, are so much affectionate towards their children. He said, how this is possible? This is the land of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, everyone loves Krishna. The land of Vrindavan is Krishna-centric. There is something which is going on here. And then he looks at Krishna. What's happening? Krishna's like, I don't know. And then a very beautiful verse comes in the Bhagavatam, where Balaram is saying, Kim etad adbhutam iva. Oh, this is so astonishing. Keyam. So he says, Keyam va kuta ayat. Keyam. Who is this? What is this? How is this? Kuta ayat. Where has this come from? Then he says, Daivi, is this some demigod? Nari, is this some magical woman who has come and putting a spell over me? Or is it some Asuri? Is it some demoness who has come casting a spell? How is that I am not aware of? Then he comes to this conclusion. Bhartur na anya me pi vimohini. Oh, it is only Bhartur. Who is that? Krishna. It is only my big brother who can bewilder me like this. So Balaram did not pester Krishna. Tell me, why did you do this with me? Obedient servant. Happy. No problem. Krishna played such a trick with him, but he did not mind because he understood that Krishna is great and I am small. Another aspect of being a sevak is Krishna is the enjoyer and I am being simply enjoyed. So there Giriraj Maharaj writes, there Balaram when the Kurukshetra Yuddha began, what did Balaram do? He went on a Tirth Yatra. But during the Tirth Yatra, Balaram visited all places of Tirtha except for one place. You know which is that place? Jagannath Puri. Why? Because there Balaram is worshipped as Balbhadra, as Baladev. So therefore, Balaram thought, how can I become the enjoyer? How can I tolerate myself being worshipped in front of, besides Jagannath and Subhadra? It's not possible. So therefore, I will not visit Jagannath Puri. Krishna, the third aspect is, Krishna is the controller and Balaram is controlled. And this we can see through this pastime of Duryodhana and Bhima. After there is a fight that ensues between Duryodhana and Bhima. And Duryodhana and Balaram is there witnessing his own disciple Duryodhana on the verge of defeat. And Balaram says, this is not good, this is unfair. Bhima should not be attacking Duryodhana below the waist. Krishna says, forget it. Just forget what Balaram is doing, and Arjuna, you continue what you're doing. Don't worry. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Tatra Partha Danodara. Tatra Shir Vijaya. Vijaya, you will get victory. Don't worry. And Arjuna is looking at Balaram again and again. But Tauji is saying this. Krishna is saying, don't worry. Balaram keeps on talking. Let him talk. And he continues. And when he observed this, Balaram kept quiet. He did not say anything. He understood that I'm just simply being controlled by Krishna. And I'm happy being in that position. So that is Balaram. The fourth is, Balaram is faithful to Krishna. Balaram is loyal to Krishna. In this pastime of Samba becomes attracted to Duryodhana's daughter, Lakshmana. Samba kidnaps Lakshmana. The Kuru dynasty become outrageous, become enraged. They catch Samba and put him under house arrest. Now the entire Yadu dynasty become angry. But Balaram comes and says, cool down, chill, don't worry. Why do you have an adrenal rush? I will go and settle down things. So Balaram, along with Uddhava, goes to Hastinapur and sends Uddhava and tell them that I have come. Duryodhana comes, Dhritarashtra comes, Bhishma comes. And they praise Balaram's glories, worshipping him as a supreme personality of Godhead, offering him Agarpati, Achman, Agyam, and all the kind of paraphernalia that we normally do. Then Balaram says, you know what? Let's make a peace deal. Why doesn't Samba, why don't you give Samba and Lakshmana? We will youthfully marry them and we will gracefully accept Lakshmana as a part of our family. In this way, we can shake hands with each other. When Duryodhana heard this, he became outraged. He said, Balaram, what do you think of yourself? He told that we are the emperors of the entire world, and you people are just the kings of one particular part of our kingdom, that is Dwarka. How did you even think like this? You are at the position of the shoes. It is like the shoes wanting to take the position of the head. You are like snakes. The more we feed you, the more your venom increases. And that, not only that, he says it's impossible. Whatever royal paraphernalia we provided you, the royal kingdom, the royal throne, both you and Krishna Balaram, it is because of our mercy on you, because of which you are there today. Now, Balaram in this entire conversation kept quiet. He did not even speak a word. But then Balaram spoke in defense of Krishna. He said, what do you think of yourself, Balaram? Duryodhana, that Krishna you're saying does not deserve the royal throne, the royal insignia, but that Krishna whose dust of the lotus feet we decorate on our forehead. Brahma, Mahesh, his expansion as Vishnu, worship him. Oh, what to talk about Brahma, Mahesh and Vishnu. I am a plenary portion of Krishna. And therefore, you are such an impudent fool. And from now, what did Balaram do? He took his hull, put it into the ground and drag Hastinapur, on the verge of dragging Hastinapur into Yamuna. And then Duryodhana comes and pleads, Balaram, we are extremely sorry for all the offenses that committed at your lotus feet. Kindly please forgive us. Balaram becomes pacified. So therefore, what do we see? How Balaram is faithful, defending Krishna's position. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, any criticism towards the Krishna conscious movement, he would be in the forefront, defending Krishna in every way. We also see this same mood of Balaram being adopted by Srila Prabhupada. So this is what we understand. So we finished, which rasa? Only Dasya. Okay. Let's see, another 3-4 minutes and we'll conclude. Then we have Vatsalya. So Balaram protects Krishna as how the eyelids protect the eyes. So during the Gocharan Leela, Balaram, Krishna said, now I'm big boy. I'm 6 years old. Now I can herd the cows. Mother Yashoda told Balaram that you keep Krishna with you. And Balaram said, yes, I will keep Krishna behind me and I will always protect him. When the Kali Daman Leela took place and Krishna went alone, there were so many inauspicious signs. The first thought that came in the mind of Mother Yashoda was that because Krishna is alone, without Balaram, so therefore such inauspicious signs and omens have been coming. And therefore, Vatsalya, so Balaram is so much affectionate as an elder brother towards Krishna. Then we have, just rushing, a lot of things to be told, but time is less again. Then we have Sankirtan. So in Sankirtan, we have Krishna slapping Balaram, Balaram slapping Krishna, both wrestling with each other, both joking with each other. There's this beautiful pastime that comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Mahabharata also, where Krishna and Arjuna gets attracted to Subhadra. And Krishna tells, oh, you're attracted to Subhadra, why don't you steal her? This is a suggestion given by Krishna. Don't worry, I will deal with Balaram. Because why? Balaram wanted Subhadra to get married to Duryodhana. So there was an announcement that was made. Oh, one sannyasi has come into the village who can read, the palms. And all the ladies of the village went. Along with that, Subhadra also went. Even though she knew that I have to get married to Duryodhana, but she was in the hope that let me see what is there in my destiny. She goes to the sannyasi and the sannyasi sees the hand. Oh, very interesting. You know what? You're going to be kidnapped. And Subhadra was surprised, I'm going to be kidnapped. And then that sannyasi was none other than Arjuna. Arjuna quickly removes his sannyas vesh, takes Subhadra. Oh, Krishna has prepared already a chariot. Takes Subhadra onto the chariot and drives away. And Subhadra looks, oh wow, expert astrologer. Very quick that was. That was too quick. And Krishna and Subhadra and Arjuna are in the chariot and Balaram is shouting there, that's cheating. That's adharma. How can this happen? It is impossible. And Krishna looks at Balaram. Do you think the disrobing of Draupadi was dharma? You're taking the side of Duryodhana. Do you think the disrobing of Draupadi was dharma? No, this is cheating. He's cheating with my disciple. But Krishna pacifies him and says that don't worry. No, he's being kidnapped. In the meantime, Arjuna tells Subhadra that let us exchange positions because I need to fight with the enemy and I will fire the arrows and you ride the chariot. Krishna looks, are you sure that Arjuna is stealing Subhadra? Look at that. It is Subhadra who's riding the chariot. It seems opposite. It seems Subhadra is stealing away Arjuna. And then Balaram becomes totally embarrassed. And he looks at Devaki and Vasudeva, and Devaki and Vasudeva keeping their heads down, saying nothing. And therefore, Balaram is thoroughly embarrassed. That is, Balaram is ready to accept such a humble position. That is what is Balaram. And then we have Madhurya Ras, the last. So that same Balaram, in order to facilitate Krishna's Leelas in the spiritual world, that same Balaram expands as Srimati Radharani's younger sister. That is Ananga Manjari, who is a younger sister of Radharani. Rupa Goswami, in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, he quotes something very nice. He says, there is always, it's not that all rasas are independent of each other. Sometimes Shant Ras can mix with Madhurya Ras. So he says that when one rasa is rising and another rasa is rising, sometimes there is a constructive interference. And the height and the mood of the rasa is heightened. So that is what is technically called Bhava Sandhi. And sometimes two emotions, when they come together, they may cancel out each other. That is called Bhava Shabalya. And sometimes one individual rasa may fall down, that is called Bhava Shanti. And another rasa may rise up, that is called Bhava Utpati. So this is given in Krishna Kathamrit Bindu, very beautifully narrated. I was just reading that. So therefore, Balaram, he acts and Shanta, but combines with Madhurya. How is that? Balaram, in the form of Dhamma, comes and facilitates the Madhurya pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So this is how Balaram is so enthusiastic to serve Krishna in all capacities. So therefore, just to summarize what we heard today, so I started with this point that we have so many temptations and allurements, so therefore we need spiritual strength. So the word Balaram, Bala indicates spiritual strength, and that is anartha nivritti. In order to deal with the anarthas, we need spiritual strength. But we have the positive aspect of Krishna consciousness. That engaging that positive aspect gives us Rama, Ramante, Ananda. That is Balaram. We also compared Balaram as the ability, if Krishna is the sword of knowledge, then Balaram is who? Balaram gives us through the form of Guru Tattva, through the form of the spiritual master, gives us the ability to pick up that sword and help us to maneuver that sword to our advantage. That was the second point. Third point we made was Balaram is like a network provider, who gives us network connection to Krishna. Then we talked about how Balaram is, there is a Vaibhav Prakash, there is Prabhava Prakash. Balaram comes under the category of Vaibhav Prakash. And then we discussed that how another name of Balaram is called Ananta Shesh. Shesha means remainder. And how Balaram is so enthusiastic to do all kinds of services. And the Sthai Bhav of Balaram is Sankularati. That is, Balaram is all encompassing. And his encompassing nature can be seen in the form how he serves in every rasa. In Shanta, Dasya, Vatsalya, Sakhya and Madhurya. And we saw various examples for it. And in this way, we understood Balaram Tattva. So on this most auspicious upcoming festival of Balaram Jayanti, let this become a meditation where we exclusively pray to Balaram Ji. We know all of us at some point in our lives are suffering from a particular anartha, and we are trying very, very hard to overcome it. In this Balaram Jayanti, we can pray to Balaram Ji for giving us the spiritual strength to be able to overcome them and take shelter of Guru's Vani. That's a very important medium through which we can make our connection to Krishna. Balaram Jayanti Maha Mahotsav ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki, Krishna Balaram ki, Nityananda Ram ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.